Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It is Wednesday already. I can't believe we are already halfway through the week. Feels like it's taken forever, but only because of good things. Because yesterday I went to a really cool immersive tech event in Rotterdam, which was really awesome and inspiring. And now that I was completely submerged in all kinds of technology and super modern cyberpunky things, basically. I figured I should go work a bit more on my favorite cyberpunk girls with the cybernetic arms. Um, these Spinoli sisters are just very badass, and I really like drawing them. And today was just a very good opportunity to continue working on them. So good morning and welcome to the stream. If you are new, I hope you will enjoy what you see because I will just be working on this illustration. I'll be doing the shading as I've already set up the sketch, so the outline is there. And of course, if you find yourself enjoying this work, a follow would sure be appreciated. Feel free to use the chat. It's there for a reason. I always enjoy a nice talk, a nice little chat during the morning art streams. Also, if I do a stream in the evening, by the way. So just feel free to use it. Say hi. I'll be checking in pretty regularly. And other than that, I hope you have a great Wednesday. Grab a cup of coffee or tea or whatever is your vibe. And just enjoy the work. I'm not going to talk too much today. I figured I should let the art do the job. I hope all the audio settings are good. And if anything is weird or out of the ordinary, let me know. So usually I work with pretty much just one brush per illustration or even per style. I used a very faded brush for the Singularian artwork, but for the Technomancer artwork, which is the one that you're currently looking at, I use something that gives a bit more of a comic look, so a bit more bit of like harder on the edges. Which gives it a bit more of a modern look compared to what Singularian did before. If you have not seen any of that work, that's okay, no worries. There is a lot of stuff that you can watch back on both my Twitch channel, but also on my YouTube channel. And of course you can find those links in my bio below on the art channel. A couple of days ago, somebody noticed that I kind of always start with the eyes. And she asked me if there was a reason for that. Very long story short, the reason I always start with the eyes is because the eyes are pretty much the central point of attention in the human anatomy. Like most people tend to look at someone's eyes before they look at anything else. Of course, there are exceptions. But because there is so much pressure basically on the eyes, especially in an illustration, I start there and I work my way around the eyes from there, just so that I have like the eye catcher, no pun intended, so that I have the central point of what the whole thing is about nailed down from the beginning. I hope your Wednesday is looking as nicely and calm as mine is looking. Um, Although calm might not be the right word for my Wednesday. I've got quite a lot of work to do. Gonna start with the stream for a bit, a couple hours. Finish up this illustration if I can, otherwise I will be finishing this one up tomorrow. But I also need to write a couple more stories for the season finale of The Singularian. I have to work on a couple of texts I need to finish for work. Because surprisingly enough, this isn't my full-time job, if only. Got a doggy that I need to take for a walk in the afternoon. And I've got a competition night tonight. And maybe even have time left to play some Destiny 2. So yeah, today's got quite a program, but most of it is just nice stuff, fun stuff. So I'm not going to complain. My cat is saying hi as well. Hey girl. Now I always tend to sort of make the first work on the shading like way too dark. There are a couple of reasons for that. First of all, to make sure that I have a good contrast to work with, and also because I tend to work with highlights and not necessarily just with shadows. So everything that is too dark now will be subjected to another white layer after this. To sort of tone down the intensity of the black. So you see like the whole nose area is way too dark right now, but that's no problem. Because that's something we're gonna fix right now. You'll see with a bit of white we'll tone down the edges a bit more. And give her a little shimmer. And just some highlights. There we go. And even the edges that are now weird because, I don't know, I went outside of the lines there, that's all fine. Again, there's a lot of fixing stuff in the way I work. And through exploring and making mistakes and then fixing those mistakes, that's pretty much how you get into a conversation with your artwork. And I do find that when you have a good conversation with your work, those tend to be the more interesting illustrations at the end. Oops. There we go. Not bad. Let's see if she needs a bit more on the side here. That works. All right, let's see if we can do something with her hair. You see these first phases of an illustration actually go pretty fast. And over the years, I think I've managed to sort of find a way to efficiently work my way through an illustration. Like at the beginning, this would take me hours to get it right. And really, it's just a matter of practice and to develop your style. Like at some point, you learn how your brushes move. You learn the amount of pressure you need to achieve a certain effect. So, yeah, it's just a matter of doing this a lot and often. And then you'll see you get better and better, and you can just work a bit more efficiently, which is very nice. I mean, I still have illustrations that take me up to like 20 hours, but those are usually the ones that also like feature a background. They're usually not character studies. Character studies are done within, let's say, 5 to 6 hours. Like a lot of time is also in the sketching process. But I usually just do that before I do the streaming. I figured the shading process is actually a lot more interesting to watch than me sketching the same line like at least 100 times. So this is just part of the process that I really enjoy sharing with you guys. And again, for her hair, this might look a bit weird because I'm only using black and it's turning out pretty dark and, oops, pretty flat in terms of contrast. But again, highlight or hair is, especially hair is one of these things that I usually tend to drown in highlights. So first I pretty much just color it in to give the shape. And then I start working in highlights and actually creating strands of hair with white. Get that done after. There we go. You know what? Why not show that first? Oops. Let's zoom in a little bit. Let's see what we can do. go. So you see there's a bit more life coming into it. You see the outline is actually still pretty important, but that's fine. It's part of this particular style. That's why I said like this looks a bit more comic style than my previous work. And part of that is because the outline is actually still important. Whereas the Singularian is completely edgeless, so it has no outline at all whatsoever. So this, in a way, it's more cartoonish, I guess. We're getting there. How's Chet doing this morning? We're looking at some busy days ahead. I mean, the holiday season's creeping closer. Most people find themselves buried in people they want to meet, expectations, like December expectations even. I will be cleaning up some of these edges before I continue. There we go. There's still hair there. Now back to the highlighting. With a brush 20. Nah, smaller. There we go. That's looking pretty good. This is going to need some work with the black over there, but that's fine. Another good example of a conversation with the artwork. The curve here in the white does not really work. So I'm going to have to be tweaking that. Make sure it fits. Basically, I figured that Photoshop does not necessarily work much differently than working on an actual canvas. I mean, of course, you've got the Control Z things like the undo stuff, which is nice because you can't really do that in real life. But most of the time, like when it's, of course, when it's a very quick fix, yeah, I use Control Z. But actually, again, like to maintain the conversation with the work, most of the time I just paint over what I've done, like I paint over the mistake that I discovered, simply because that's where you start tuning stuff. Like you can completely undo it, but you could possibly make the same mistake again. And it's just less likely for that if you paint over something because you have the original source material to go by. If that makes sense. It's also one of the reasons why I tend to use only 1 or 2 layers, or at least for the initial shading process. I mean, I have a background layer, which is basically just the white. And then I have 1 layer for the outline and 1 layer for the shading. And that is like 9 out of 10 times just the amount of layers that I have. Again, that is most of the times. There have been exceptions. There have been illustrations that are so complex and had so many characters on it. Like those ensemble cast posters I make. I tend to split those up in like a foreground, background, and a middle area. I'm not even splitting that up into characters, like each character has their own layer, but more in terms of, okay, the background's going to be a bit darker, so I can just, you know, go all out on the way I use the light. So that when I make a mistake there, I don't necessarily have to work all the way to the foreground again, if you know what I mean. So most of the time I work in 1 layer. Sometimes I work in like maximum 2 or 3. Because Photoshop for me is just like regular painting. You've got a brush and you've got 1 canvas. And that's it, and you're going to have to work with it. And I explained it a couple times before. This is also the reason why I tend to use 1 brush, sometimes 2, when it's a special effect. Because again, this is like in real life, you have brushes, and they all may have different shapes. But the way you use them are all pretty much the same. Like you apply a certain amount of pressure, and you know, while wiping off the paint to the canvas, and digitally that there is no difference. You still do the same. You decide the amount of pressure, so you can control the amount of paint you basically drop onto your digital canvas. Yeah. So that's that. Let's give it some more negative highlights, so black highlights. Just to give it a bit more boom. She deserves that. Are there any secret lurkers in the stream today? Anyone just enjoying the stream without necessarily partaking into the chat? That's fine. Just if that's you, hello to you too. I appreciate you stopping by. I always do. A bit, and then moving on. Not without saving though. There we go. All right, what's next? Anatomy seems appropriate. Oops. Yeah, this needs a lot more white, but that's fine. Nothing we can't fix. Looks about right. I love how she's just like this pretty girl and then has this massive cyber arm, cybernetic limb sticking out of her shoulder. If I remember correctly, I think one of the first descriptions of both of these girls was that they could pretty much blow up a whole city with their arm. Good morning, Mercadian Merchant. Welcome aboard. How are you doing? Doing all right. I'm glad to hear it. I hope you're having a pretty nice Wednesday morning. If it's morning, I have no idea where you are at. I've had some folks from Australia on the stream before, so that would be evening for them. But in any case, I hope you're having a good Wednesday. And I hope you're enjoying the stream so far. Thanks so much for stopping by. The Spinelli sisters are two characters of a book series that I'm working on. A couple of months ago, the author of the Technomancer books, his name is M.K. Gibson, he approached me because he knew my work and he asked me if I wanted to illustrate one of his books. So that were the Technomancer books, and today I'm working on the twin sisters from this story, the Spinelli sisters. This one, the particular girl on the left here, that's Teresa, and the badass sister on the right is Caitlin. And I was just talking about how these girls both have one of their arms replaced by a cybernetic limb. So they have like this weird cyberpunk arm, which is pretty much powerful enough to blow up a whole city if they have to. And they are bartenders, but that would sell them short. Like, they are bartenders and patrons of the particular pub they work at. So they're also sort of like bouncers. They make sure everybody pays their bills by threatening to blow a hole in their skull with the cybernetic arms. Which should also sort of give away what kind of style these books are in. And I tend to give really long answers on questions, by the way. I hope I have answered yours by now. Yes, how they lost their arms. They didn't necessarily lose them. They sort of voluntarily ditched them to replace them with a cyber limb. People in this story have sort of free access to all kinds of technology. Like, the books are really set into a cyberpunk Earth 2.0 sort of. The basics of the story come down to God has abandoned humanity, and that has pretty much opened the gates of hell. So there are like demons and monsters living in our world, but at the same time technology keeps advancing as well. So people can just replace parts of them with technology. Yeah, upgrades. Yeah, almost like it, when I first read the books, it even reminded me of how Deus Ex was put together. Like, people can just upgrade themselves. But I think in Deus Ex, that is more normal than it is in these books. Like, you need the money, obviously, to get these sort of enhancements, and not everybody has that. Especially, you know, when human beings are suppressed by demons. Yeah, good question. Are the demons hostile or just vibing? A bit of both, I would say. So when they came to Earth, or when they came into our world, that was pretty nasty. Like there was the war, the big war, where humans and demons just went toe to toe to see who's boss. But at a certain point, the demons realized that they have needs as well, and they might as well figure out a way to live side by side. But that said, there has never really been peace. Like it's more of a tolerance, where demons understand they need humans to do certain things for them because they are simply too lazy to do it themselves. Yeah, there's a pretty interesting sort of balance between demons and humans. And of course there are bad guys. There's always bad guys. If thieflings exist? Excellent question. In this particular first book, I have not met any. But this series contained 5 or 6 books at this point. There might be a couple in the next books that I have not read about yet. The entire series, or most of it by now, is written. I think, like I said, it's the 5th or the 6th book in the series already. And I'm making the illustrations for the very first book right now. So there's going to be an illustrated edition later on next year, I believe the first half of 2023. So yeah, if you're new to the series, this might actually be a good moment to jump on board. I do know that in this book are a lot of references to like old mythology that we are aware of, like in our current live or current world as well. There's like Norse gods, there is African gods, or no, sorry, I'm saying this wrong. They're not even gods, they're deities, because gods is just not the right word, but that's something that is more elaborately explained in the book itself. It has a really big variety of stuff that you can recognize from contemporary stories. There we go. Is this your first time on the channel, by the way? Are you like brand new here? You're new. In that case, welcome aboard. I'm still pretty fresh to Twitch. I haven't been around that long yet. I'm trying to build up a bit of a community here. I've been active on YouTube with my artwork before, but YouTube has an algorithm that does not favor artists who cannot produce art every day. So I figured I'd try my hand at Twitch, and so far it's actually been really nice. People have been super nice. And it's just great to sort of connect with people and talking about the work, talking about the story. So I absolutely appreciate you stopping by. Thank you so much. Yeah, you are absolutely right there. You know, I mean, YouTube is a great platform. Um, you know, I usually record these streams as well, and then later on I put them on the channel, just so that people can watch back streams. But honestly, the whole social aspect of Twitch is just much more interesting to me. You know, I'm messing around. You see that? Making all kinds of mistakes here. Um, the fact that I can chat with people and just explain what I'm doing and explain different techniques while I work, that is worth so much more than just people clicking or possibly even not clicking it on YouTube. And then, like you said, like struggling with the algorithms is, at some point, it's just not worth your time anymore. I'd rather actually spend time working on my art than fighting an algorithm. Oh, thanks so much, Mercadian. Thanks for the follow. 100% appreciate that. With the little robots. Yeah, I saw that. Let's see if I can punch that out. I do not like bots at all. Where did he go? Ta-da! Fixed. That's multitasking to the max. Orbital cannon goes pew pew. Yes, yes indeed it does. Oh, that reminds me of these, what's that, Angel Fire from the Altered Carbon series, with the big lights in the sky charging up before they nuke the entire planet. It's kind of how I feel when I ban bots or, you know, put people on timeout and chat and stuff. Take out my sword and go. Okay, let's put in some highlights. Let's see if we can get the texture of the metal arm to look at least a bit different than her skin. So are you a streamer yourself, or you usually just you just browse channels and, or just a viewer? Follow strict outlines, or is it more of a free thing? Oh, you're a Twitch vagabond. I'm not quite sure what you mean with the question, though. These illustrations follow strict outlines, or is it more free thing? Do you mean like, is there anyone that tells me what they should look like? Or is this just free drawing? Is that what you're asking? Yeah. So yeah, there are definitely things that I have to sort of commit to, because obviously I work for the author of the book, or I'd rather say I work with the author, because this is a team effort. But obviously the characters need to match their descriptions in the book, because otherwise it's going to be weird. Like if the book describes a girl with blonde hair, and I don't know, like a cybernetic arm, then it would be weird if I would make her blue and give her cybernetic feet. So most of my illustrations definitely pass the author before they even go into the book. But that said, what I do on Twitch are studies. So this is just me exploring, like, what would these girls look like. I did one of Caitlin the other day, and the author came back and he said, well, actually she looks great, but, and then I get some feedback, change that, go a bit more extreme on the cybernetic arm. So that's when I can start tweaking things. So this is the second time I work on the Spinelli sisters, and if you look back on the channel to one of the previous films or clips, you see that the arm is much more modest with the cybernetic part. Like, there are a couple of lines where she has little segments, but these are much more extreme. So yeah, I'm definitely working with descriptions that I need to follow. But at the same time, Gib is also the kind of guy who he sometimes just says, it's also a part of it is artist interpretation. So as long as it does not step too far from the original description in the book, I do have some liberty that I can work with. So, it's actually the perfect balance, in my opinion, my humble opinion. Yeah, it does. I mean, I have projects that are completely free. I also work on my own book series, which is called The Singularian. And clearly that is stuff that I make up as I go. So I can pretty much do what I want to do. But I do think as an artist, it's also nice to sort of work with, stuff that other people want. It gets you out of a sort of a creative tunnel, because it's pretty normal that people tend to sort of stick to their own comfort zone. And I think if you really want to grow as an artist, it's important to step outside of that comfort zone every now and then. So, if this is your first time on the channel, by the way, can I ask how you got here? Did, like, Twitch itself recommend me, or maybe you found me on social media? No, please, by all means, give me tips and advice, and I'll see if it's something I can work with. I'm always open to feedback. Browse the art section. Oh, that's cool. But yeah, feel free to fire away with tips and tricks and advice. Tattoo on a right girl's bicep would look good. Oh god, yeah. I totally see what you're saying. I might actually play around with that. It's such a empty space right now, isn't it? What kind of tattoo would you give her though? Because I don't think she's the kind of girl who would wear like one of those classic tribals. She would have something more powerful there, I think. Oh, and please don't be sorry at all. I appreciate it if people share their views and stuff, so keep at it. Sister's name, maybe. Ooh, I'm not sure. But that might be a sentiment of one of those old, like, sailor dudes with a little anchor that says mama. Mama! Like on the arm. I don't like that. I'm not sure if these sisses carry each other's names. Just thinking, like Caitlyn is the more badass of the two. I could maybe imagine her wearing a death count, like a tally mark on her arm of the people she has successfully kicked out of the pub, so to say. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe she has like something very, like one of those old circuit boards tattooed on her arm. I could see that fit to her. Don't know them, so don't know. Tattoos are highly personal. Maybe skulls and oh, you know what? Skulls and roses, that would fit to her. Like something morbid but beautiful at the same time. Then again, skull and roses. I could see that work. I might actually give it a try as soon as I get to her. So great idea, thanks. Also, if you find yourself interested in these books and more of these illustrations, this coming Sunday, I think it's December 4th, I'm doing a stream with the actual author of the books. So, I don't know, it might be cool to sort of stop by and see who's writing these, and then combined with me illustrating stuff. Could be fun. Yeah, pretty much. It's starting at 7 p.m. in UK time, so GMT. So if you do have time, It would be great if you'd stop by. You can get to meet the author and see some more artwork behind the scenes. We've got a couple of announcements to make about the book series as well. So it could definitely be worth your while to stop by. I should see if I can actually set it up in the schedule for the stream for the channel, so that people can see that in advance. Still trying to figure out all the small things Twitch allows me to do. Beauty marks. Yeah, I could see that. Like a skin that is not perfectly, or at least like just a skin that is not perfect. I could see how that works. I'm kind of assuming, by the way, that you are an artist yourself as well. So what kind of art do you make? What do you do? What's your platform? More of an art enjoyer. All right, fair enough, fair enough. I totally understand that. All right. Usually throw ideas at an artist who generously indulge me and pay them. That sounds about right. You commission artists to make stuff that you come up with. That's what you're saying, yeah? Yeah. You'd be surprised how many people still ask artists to make stuff for them and then say, no, I'm not going to pay you. So I guess I really appreciate the kind of person that you are by actually paying artists for their work. You could share something. Yeah, sure. Not exactly sure how that works on Twitch though. I don't think you can send through images, can you? Or you know what? I can actually. You could join my my Discord channel as well, and you could do a little art share in there if you want. That could be fun. Oh, you could do that too. Sure. Just thinking, if you want to join the Discord to share art stuff in as well, you are very free to join us there. It's not a very large community yet, but I figured one person at a time will build up towards a community as well. So. Oh, yeah, that's kind of what I expected. Click to show. Ooh. My Nightbot is a bit of a bitch sometimes. DeviantArt. Let me check that out. Oops. Not sure, but when I open the link, it says page not found. Yeah, I can't get the link to work either, so something is going wrong. Can you try dropping it in the Discord? Because this, I know for sure that Discord is not going to block it. And I'm really kind of curious now, so indulge me, please. There we go. There should be an ArtShare channel that you can just freely use. Moving on to sister number 2 in the meantime. Oh dear. Oh, there we go. What's an art? And Sadie Rom. I do love that second piece. The little devil with the curls. Oh my god, that looks so cool. Thanks for sharing that, man. That's pretty inspiring. Jacob Sheep, Succubus Court Clerk. It looks great. It looks absolutely great. Funny thing is, it reminds me of a flock of sheep my friends have, because they have like the Icelandic sheep that have 4 horns. So whenever I see stuff like this, I immediately go to their farm with the Icelandic sheep. There's some associative thinking going on in the morning. You cannot stop the brain. Right, let's smack on some makeup on this girl. So, why would you? What would be a reason for you to commission an artist? I mean, do you have stories that you want to have illustrated, or is it just you have an idea and you want someone to just make that? What's usually the reason for you to commission someone? I'm curious. Just cool ideas. I want to see come alive. That is really nice, actually. Or when you want reference for bigger pieces. Yeah, I could see how that works. It's cool though. I mean, there are so few people who just hire artists to turn like a mental picture into an actual image. I mean, like I said before, there are still so few people left who actually even pay artists for their work. So I'm actually kind of excited to have met someone now who is very actively involved with, you know, getting artists to make art. That's cool. I love how Twitch, or basically just streaming in general, allows for these like super cool random encounters with people. Currently looking for an artist for a not safe for work piece. I'm thinking if I know anyone who does NSFW. I personally don't really. I'm sorry. I might actually look around for you if you want. Oh, you know what? I don't know. Maybe you know of this particular artist. I think she is on. Oh, absolutely. Yes, feel free to talk about it. That's absolutely fine. I'm just at the same time I'm sort of thinking like, who do I know that might actually be interested in taking on a commission for NSFW? And I'm actually thinking of a name. Her name is Moonlore, and she does a lot of, well, basically smart comics as well. So she would probably be open for commissions. It's an aftercare scene. All right. If you want, I can definitely get you in touch with her. If you're actively searching. Got all the rest already. Cool. Just a link would be fine. Yeah, exactly. I will drop that in the Discord then, because I would have to look it up. Don't know exactly what the link is. Probably if you go onto Twitter, you could probably even look her up just by searching for Moonlore art. Give that a try, and if it doesn't work, give a shout, because then I will throw the link to you in Discord. How does that sound? Ah, you don't use Twitter. Instagram? Facebook? You know what? Let me pull up her website. Where'd she go? I think she even has an Etsy. That is not her. Moonlore. You live under a rock. That's fine, no worries. I am dropping you a link in the Discord. Oops. I dropped a link for you. Yeah, sure, there's no rush at all. It's just, I know how my brain works. Like, if I don't do it now, I will probably forget. So that was just me getting that out of the way for myself, basically. But yeah, take your time. I mean, her art, yeah, it looks, she's cool. She's got a couple of nice comics as well. She actually produced the stickers that I had ordered for this series that I'm working on now, for the Technomancer. So she's a busy bee. She does a lot of cool stuff. Pardon me. Thanks. You can definitely suggest, but these girls both do not have piercings, because that is actually something that is clearly stated in the book. So again, it's a cool suggestion, but in this case, because it is not 100% free to interpret art, no can do. Funny thing is that on my very first sketch for Caitlin, I gave her a little thing in the eyebrow, and that was not really, that was not who she was. Let's keep it at that. No worries. Wait, where do we... Kind of lost in my own lines here. That's interesting. I always love how, you know, highlights and everything give so much in life to a picture. Like, if you compare the hair of Caitlin, so the girl I'm working on now, to compare to Theresa on the left, I mean, all I did was just give it some white highlights, and Caitlin's hair is still so flat with just a white, with just a black. Sorry. There's like these simple tricks that can so easily make something come alive. I love how that works. There we go. Let's give her a few. Yep. 100%. Somebody once said that just listening to the stream, as long as I keep my mouth shut and turn the music off, could actually go for an ASMR video as well, with the whole pencil sliding across the drawing tablet. I thought it was funny. It's like therapeutic art in the morning, just by listening to my pen scratching across the tablet. Yeah, there is something nice about that sound. I guess I just hear it too much. feel like this outline needs some cleaning up here. It's a bit messy. I suppose that's better. There we go. Continue with the white. Oops. A couple of weeks ago, I did a short little interview about this actual book series, and somebody asked me, so what do you do with these character studies? Because isn't it just a waste of time if you make these drawings for a book and don't put them in the book? And I was actually kind of surprised by that question, because I mean, you never really make art for nothing. But I could also understand what that person was saying, because I do spend a lot of time making these character studies, and basically the only place where you will ever be able to see them is like here on Twitch or on my YouTube channel, or you know, like my own personal platforms, but they will never really be put into the book. And so I started to explain that for the book, I need to make 36 illustrations, so every chapter comes with an actual illustration. But those illustrations will not be character studies. They will actually be full scenes, so not just a person, but you know, a person on a background doing something. And then I explained that if I have to make 36 illustrations of the same characters, I would need a sense of continuity. Like if I make the same person, if I draw that same person a couple of times, or let's say 30 times, and they all look differently, people are going to have no idea who is who. So these studies are far from pointless, because this is what enables me to draw the same person and make her look similar. Exactly. Yeah, it's practice, character design. It's pretty necessary, because like I said, like if I draw Caitlin like this now, and then next time you look at her and she's wearing a ponytail and her eyes are more slanted, you will not recognize her. So that ended up as a pretty interesting conversation, because I do get the idea of, you know, time in a certain way is money, and these studies I'm not really paid for. But they are basically an investment in the quality of the illustrations that you will find in the book. So yeah, I do find them pretty important. Grinding art XP. Oh yeah. The grind is real. Very real. Then again, I've been grinding this stuff for more than 15 years, so I'm not sure how fast my grind is still going. Or how many XP I still need to actually level up. A couple million. You know what? As much as I hate grind in games, like I play Destiny 2 a lot, I hate the grind. But real life XP grind is, I'm okay with that. Because it actually serves a purpose. I do think she needs some work on the eye still. Oops. Smoothing that out a bit. There we go. That is also very true. It takes years and years. Okay. Good morning, Mr. Delight. Super wonderful day, full of joy. And get attacked by 100 puppies with cuteness. Fantastic work. May food rain down and bless your tummy to be full. Thanks so much for the elaborate good luck, I guess. And I appreciate you dropping in. And I could sure use a little puppy attack, I guess. But my own dog is actually sleeping right now because she's lazy as hell. So the one puppy I have is not really gonna give me any cuddle attacks at this point. So I'm very sad. But yeah, Mr. Delight, thanks for stopping by. And I hope you find yourself enjoying the stream. Oh, crap-a-moly. Yeah. Working on the wrong layer. It has to happen at least once every drawing. And it pisses me off. Alright, let's just do some damage control. Go back to the right layer. This is so stupid. I really hate it when that happens. Like, I do not pay attention for 1 second and I immediately start shading on my outline layer. Ah. But we'll survive. You know what, I actually just realized I don't think my music is actually coming through in the stream, is it? That's really weird. Should be working now. So what would you prefer, with or without music? Because I can turn it back off. All right, fair enough. Some people get a bit uncomfortable if it's just me talking and just the pen scratching, but I could see other people enjoying that. So, to be fair, I kind of just forgot to turn on the Spotify thing in my my streaming software, so this is all on me. Usually I have some music on the background. True, very living roomy. I kind of like that cozy is the word being used here. That's cool. I love how I can just be super messy at some points in the drawing and just fix that as I go. There you go. I'm just smoothing it out. I do enjoy how people are still legitimately surprised by how I tend to use just one singular brush for most of my illustrations. I know there are artists that have a library of thousands of brushes, and I'm not gonna lie, I do have a couple hundred as well, but you'll only rarely see me use any other brush than the one I use now, or one of the Fade Edge brushes that I have for a different style of illustrations that I make. But life is just so much simpler when you can just use one brush. Exactly. You know, it's working in Photoshop for me is so similar to working on a real life canvas. Really. I mean, it all pretty much works the same, doesn't it? I mean, if you make a mistake, you can paint over it. I mean, of course you can do Ctrl-Z and undo the stuff, which for quick fixes I tend to do, but, you know, if I make a mistake, I can just paint over it. As soon as you know how your brush works, it's just like in real life. No, sir, it is not. And that has bitten me in the ass a couple of times before, so I need to remind myself to save it. Thanks for the heads up. I really do appreciate that. I think autosave is only on when you work in the cloud, and I tend to save these to my hard drive. I've seen that more than enough. Yeah, I've seen that more often than I care to admit. In the past, I've lost entire manuscripts and books because of hard drives crashing, and man, there are parts of my life gone because of that. And it still hurts, even though it's like 10, 15 years ago. Guys, I didn't save at the end of last stream. Yep. Seen that before. Although I do think that this is gonna... I'm thinking of finishing this girl up and then calling the stream anyway, so probably 1 hour of work left. Sort of, I think. Maybe half an hour. As soon as I get the color gradient in to colorize these girls, from there it's usually not that much work anymore. Because that's also something I tend to do. Like I color in grayscale as though I'm working as a pencil artist, and then I generate a color gradient to fill in the gaps, like to give her skin color, to give her, well, just to basically colorize the image. There are some pretty cool scripts for that. And partly I like working together with like computer generated stuff. I mean, as much as I do not like AI art, I do like when when it adds to the work of an artist. Like I would never ask an AI to make something for me. But you know, since I'm a sci-fi artist, I figured it would be cool if computer technology could actually enhance my work. Yeah, exactly. Like as a tool, it is 100% awesome. But as your main go-to, um, you know, if it's all you do, if you let it make the work for you, that's personally where I kind of check out. Like, I I do appreciate the human skill in art. I mean, would it even be art if it's not made by a human? And I am aware that there are some pretty big discussions on that subject and pretty sensitive discussions as well. Um, but that's just my way of approaching the subject, I guess. All right, well, we're getting somewhere. Clean up the outline just a bit. There is something so extremely satisfying at cleaning up the outlines, like when you color outside of the lines and then just erasing that along the lines. I don't know, it feels good. Alright, let's see what we have. I'm gonna see if I want to give her a tattoo on the arm. Probably could use a cool brush for that though. I don't know, I would really have to think about a tattoo for this girl. Although I do like this. This kind of fits to her. Something a bit more high-tech. Something more of a pattern than an actual image. I suppose it fits. There should be the trademark ink in the background. Oops. I may not be the most efficient working artist, but I usually tend to get what I have in mind, so I'm not going to complain about that. There are probably like scripts and effects that I can use, but who cares? Alright. Let's generate some color. stupid layer that I worked on. I kind of like how this turned out. Oh, that's the wrong. All right, we're getting somewhere. See, this is the part where I start adding layers. It's not until I start wrapping things up. And until that time, everything is done in the same, same layer basically. And again, I know this is something some artists may frown upon. Like, why would I make it so difficult for myself by working on a single layer? But like I said before, at the same time, this is just like working on a traditional piece where you only have one canvas. And if you make a mistake, you're just going to have to deal with it, you know. All right, there we go, the twin sisters, Teresa and Caitlin Spinelli. Not bad after 2 hours of work. Exactly, finished. I'm gonna be wrapping this up and prepare another illustration, hopefully for tomorrow. Tomorrow evening it's gonna be then, I think. But there will be more streams, probably on Friday, the weekend. Of course, there will be the chat, the live stream with the author on Sunday. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thanks for the follow. I really appreciated your company on this one, and I hope to see you on the next. Bye-bye.